On behalf of Eisenhower Fellowships, headquarters in Philadelphia, I'm super excited to be here this morning. I want to thank Chelsea Collier and Jack Bianco for helping to organize this breakfast this morning. My name is Romana Lee Akiyama. I'm a Senior Program Officer for Network Engagement at Eisenhower Fellowships. I'm based in Philadelphia, flew in yesterday, and I did make it here despite the snowstorm. Super excited to be in Austin. Can I just have a show of hands? Who are the Eisenhower Fellows in the room? Can I see you? Great. And then we have a lot of guests and new friends, and that's awesome. We're thrilled that you're here and that you've come to learn more about our organization. Eisenhower Fellowships is a nonprofit, nonpartisan, independent global leadership organization. We were founded in 1953 as a gift to President Eisenhower as he embarked on his presidency. And we were built on the mission that this world can be more peaceful, prosperous, and just through building relationships and connections across borders and across differences. And we believe that even though we were founded 65 years ago, that mission remains just as relevant today, perhaps even more so. So what do? We work with mid-career innovative leaders from all across the world. We bring them to the United States for intensive learning and travel and growth opportunities. And we also send mid-career professionals from the USA overseas for the same kind of learning and growth experience. We are sector agnostic, so we believe that folks from all parts of our economy and world can make an impact and help create a world that's more peaceful, prosperous, and just. And this morning, you're going to be hearing from two of our fellows, Anu Pasi-Raust, who is here. She's one of our finished fellows, but I believe living in DC at the moment, right? Yes, and Worley, who is a brand new USA fellow. He has not even traveled with us yet, and he must be super excited to be a fellow. That we've roped him in early, so you'll hear from them in just a moment. Yeah, so thank you so much, and I am going to introduce Jack Bianco, one of our USA fellows, to speak.
As we raised our hands earlier, you got a number of folks that have done fellowships. There's a couple plants in the audience like Worley and Adam that are going to do their fellowships coming up. So get a chance, share any ideas, either ask about the foundation, the programs that we participate in it, or suggest items. Folks go to different parts of the world. You might know some people in your network that you can share, or all of us have some specialty that we really pursue as part of our fellowship. So we'd love to talk about it.
So Eisenhower Fellow from Finland means that I came over to US 2014. I have education background, that's my industry. I was very interested in EdTech, what's happening in the personalized education sector. I visited lots of companies, government, LinkedIn type of companies, Udemy, MIT, cool stuff. Stuff that I could never believe that I could do. And built this idea in my head, and together with other 23 amazing fellows. So that I think that's not only my journey, what I did here in the US, but how to connect with other people from all around the world. So we were international fellows coming from New Zealand to Brazil, and we still have every day. Today morning I had a couple of WhatsApp messages from my colleagues, from my fellows, and we are staying connected every day, sharing what we're doing, sharing our challenges, sharing the success, and keeping us going and doing those things what we just heard what is where we want to make the big impact. Yes, and the amazing thing is, of course, to have now connection with the US fellows. Although we don't have these 7 weeks, what we have with the international fellows, we have this 7 weeks time together, going all around the US. Not all the time together, but mostly there are always like 5 people traveling and visiting different cities. But later on, we meet these in different occasions, events, conferences. We meet you, US fellows, in order to make that connection, and thanks Chelsea for inviting me here to Austin. I'm super excited, never been in South by Southwest before. One day in Austin, but the vibe and what's happening and what I hear sounds like it's going to be an amazing weekend. So thank you for that, and thank you for organizing the breakfast. I'm sharing a little bit what's now evolved from that Eisenhower Fellowship experience. I was then focusing really on the education, personalized education, where we are going, what's happening in order to adapt the MOOCs and those type of things. The things have evolved. Now I'm part of a company called HEDAI, Finland-based AI company, artificial intelligence. And actually there is another fellow in our company also, Harri Ketamo. He's the guy in learning science. I would love to have him over here too, and having that kind of a long experience and background in that area. We are doing here today a pitch in an international accelerator, so I'm a little bit trying that today here with you and going through what we are doing. The application where we are using our own AI, which is really developed in-house, is micro-competencies. So we are working now how to make skills. And the big problem what we are solving comes from these numbers, what the CEOs are saying, that there's a lack of skilled employees. We know there is also people who don't have the job. So something is now missing, that the connections in and those companies, organizations who are seeking for those skills. The other area, especially while coming from the education point of view, is that there's 1 billion people looking for education, either for their job, to get a job, or just for a hobby. And all that MOOC, what's happening in EdTech is well aligned with our approach, that these micro-credentials and going more kind of a on-demand training area, especially in the vocational training. And it seems that our current education system can't fix this problem, so something else is needed. And I'm sure, Hurley, you will speak about that. As an AI company, the third thing what we face when really willing to utilize these skills is that we should be able to identify them. And if we look at, we were just having a nice conversation here about if somebody's looking for a project manager, it's totally different in different industry areas. So we don't even have the same language or terminology when we are speaking about these things. And so there is a data existing, but we don't have these analyzed or these people to do that matchmaking and understand the recruiter being able to really understand what are you looking for. So something else is needed. And there we come into the picture with our AI company. And the cool thing is that with this concept, we also won last year in Finland an Innovation Challenge Cup, got the €500,000 check to solve this in Finland, to really make the more efficient skills identification for Finnish country. So if we think about the education point of view, the vocational training being more up-to-date, real-time, what the industries are looking for. What does this automation mean from the skills perspective? The company is seeing the large-scale pictures. Who are their competitors in these areas? This is Harri. Harri is the 2017 fellow and my colleague. And he looks like a geek. So you can see already from his habit that he is the learning science guy. Yes, the cool thing is also that our strong team has this cool guy there with the red hoodie, Peter Westerbacka, may be well known in this event for Angry Birds, the mighty eagle from Rovio, now fully passionate in education sector and solving these issues. So he's having another hoodie now. There is not anymore Angry Birds in that red hoodie, and he's also behind the Schloss. So we are doing this thing in Finland, and what I'm especially looking, in the pitch also today, that how can we replicate something what we are doing in Finland? Because in AI industry, it's all about data. We need data to teach our AI be more accurate and understand that what does it mean when we read a lot of data, open data, and really want to have these eyeglasses of skills. So we want to boost the data analysis with AI, and the big goal is, in the end, help the companies and build this ecosystem for them to allocate the right expertise for that. Product to be launched is micro-competencies. And please, if you can, Twitter, it's competencies there, what we are now launching. It's just we are getting there, really MVP level, startup feeling, boosting things. And in short, what the flow looks like. We really open system, taking open public data, and that's where we believe that we can start and do it well already in the beginning. So our semantic neural computing is taking that data and building these skills maps, which can be then the basis for analysis, the matching with the demand and the offering. And this AI is really developed in-house for 20 years, and we believe, and we have validated that already. So all is existing. In a simple format, it can be look like if you look at job posting, we can read it and make it as a skills map. At the same time, taking your own profile from blogs, from all these Twitter tweets or CVs, and build the same type of skills maps. And when putting these together, from the job point of perspective, we can show that those are the skills you already have there, you are good at, and those are we can point out what you are. And then even in the long run, we want to show that where do you get that? and now first we start in the macro level, and then the more data we get, the more intelligence our, with all these different ontologies, like in US, the ONET, and in Europe, it's the ESCO, those frameworks and taxonomies, we can go even more micro level. Yes, so that's what we're launching in April. I'm so happy. If you can see the kind of evolvement, what's happened in the Eisenhower Fellow 2014, we are now there doing things and having great discussion, even a couple of pilots starting from in the US. Pretty much also those things what I met people in during my fellowship. So I'm grateful and passionate with this one. And here I don't need to go to the pricing model. I think that's what I'm doing in my pitch at noon. My 5 minutes over. I'm happy to discuss more about these things and about the fellowship, what the Eisenhower meant for me, what we are able to do, and also if you are going to Finland, that's our role to connect you with different people, different organizations there. But also, of course, I'm happy to share more about these micro competencies. Thank you.
All right, so I'm doing a project called quantum.org. So the idea is to educate high school students and college freshmen and sophomore on quantum computing. And the reason is, I don't know why this is not advancing. Let's see. There we go. Is that there's a lot of hard problems in the world. So as an example, how many of you guys know the traveling salesman problem, right? Which is overused, and maybe it's real and maybe it's not. But if you had a computer that does 10 to the 9th operations per second and you wanted to find the best way to route someone around to 14 cities, it's a 10 to the 11th problem. It's about 1,000 seconds for that computer to figure that out. If you go from 14 cities to 22 cities, it goes to 10 to the 19th. It takes about 1,600 years to solve that same problem on that same machine. Now, there's all kind of algorithms, a way to get around it, and there's big arguments in both classical computing communities and quantum communities around it. But the basic thing is, we have created a mass of data, more data, as you know, in the last couple of years than our entire history, and we do not have any way of actually processing through this data or using it for any useful purpose. And so that is the promise of quantum computers. And so what's a quantum computer look like? It looks like a big tube like that. And when you open it up inside of it, it looks really cool, like some sort of steampunk fantasy machine. But down here's the quantum computer. It's only about that big. Because what is a quantum computer? Well, basically, instead of using gates, my phone has 3 billion transistors in it, and they're like 5 nanometers. You actually use photons and cool them down to colder than space and align them and use them to calculate on. So why is this so important? Why do I want to educate high school students and everything? I believe this is the next big gap that technology creates. Countries are investing billions of dollars in this. It's become a space race. It will bring about AI. It will destroy blockchain encryption. It has all of this both promise of good and evil. And so I believe that there needs to be a lot more democratization of the technology. There needs to be a lot more access to the technology, and there needs to be a workforce that's ready to actually take advantage of that. So, the big rumor is, bits are dead if you talk to some people in quantum. But, if you take a caffeine molecule, 95 electrons, it's like 10 to the 48th, so 10 and 48 zeros. You take that, all of the atoms in the Earth are 10 to the 50th, so roughly you need a 10th a memory space, a 10th the size of the Earth, to actually model that accurately. A quantum computer could do that in about 160 qubits, and IBM has a 50 qubit machine today Google announced last week a 72-bit machine, and the rumor is Intel will announce a 100-qubit machine before summer. So we're starting to really see a big influx in this technology. So I'm really passionate about educating on people. I asked myself, how could I get involved? In my last company, Honest Dollar, I wanted to address the savings crisis in America, where if you're an average person, you have $400 expense, you're insolvent. So we found a way to really trickfully get around all of the regulation and all of the banking stuff and put people who were Uber drivers, Lyft drivers, waiters and waitresses into Vanguard funds for just $1 and for almost no cost. So they didn't have to have $25,000 to get in, they didn't have to do this. And my mission was, I was like, I'm gonna be the guy to change the world. And what I realized is that's not what I'm gonna be the guy to do. So this company, the reason I'm so excited is I thought, how can I get involved? I thought, why not take this technology, educate people on it, democratize it, and then help 10,000 or 100,000 people that might change the world and be a catalyst. And so that's kind of the approach of what I'm doing, both with my new company and with the Eisenhower Foundation. And to do that, to start, I have just released, and it's not a joke, so please don't laugh, Quantum Computing for Babies with Chris Ferry from Australia. And what's funny is, for the last 2 months, as I've been talking about this, I did not realize people thought it was a joke, like it's a dummies book, but I'll show you. It's actually a kid's book to teach babies quantum computing, and it's rather good. It's the hardest thing I've done in quantum computing, because the way this happens, I asked you guys not to laugh. No, the way this happened was somebody posted, Sloan Foster, a friend of mine, posted Chris' other book on my Facebook page. It was like, you should get this for your 2-year-old. And I was like, that looks amazing. I'll get it. And my 2-year-old loved it, and he actually reads it. Like, he doesn't understand it, but he's like always like, ooh, the Quantum Optics for Babies book. I'm just gonna sit over here on the couch for a few. And I'm like, it was amazing. So I took these photos, I sent them to Chris, and I was like, hey, this great book and all. And then he was like, oh my God, you built that mind control skateboard at Chaotic Moon. My kids love that thing. And so then we did a Skype with his kids where I was like, yeah, it's a real skateboard, and like you use your mind and you can drive it. And it was really weird. And then like 2 weeks later, we were like, we should write Quantum Computing for Babies together. And at the time I was like, this is my most brilliant idea. And I got a rum and Coke, and I told my wife, if you could just leave me alone for an hour or two, I gotta knock out this kid's book. And 9 weeks later, I was like, oh my God, fuck this kid's book. Because the editor would be like, I like your explanation on quantum entanglement, but there's 9 words. We like to keep it to about a maximum of 5 words per page. And I was just like banging my head against the wall with Chris. But we've done it, it's out. And so this is a model for my Eisenhower project. So StrangeWorks, my new company, owns the rights to the book. The profits from the books will go into the quantum.org project, and we'll be doing other things like this. And we also, on that actual What's My Eisenhower project, it's not babies, although that'd be pretty cool, right? It's like only working under 3, I can work with you. I made this happen. I'd just like stack up a cute baby in front of you and be like, how did you like the program? They'll be like, oh, I'll be like, see, it was amazing, right? Unless they cry or something, that'd be true. But we just got back from CERN in Switzerland, and we're going to announce on Tuesday a program where StrangeWorks is going to fund students from around the world to go to CERN in the summer, students that wouldn't have access to the accelerator, that wouldn't have access to any of the quantum computing knowledge, and most importantly, don't have any entrepreneurial mentoring. And so we've designed a program with CERN to take students from around the world, send them as part of StrangeWorksQuantum.org thing over to CERN for the summer for 2 weeks, to be there during all of the big physics talks, to learn about quantum computing, and to learn about entrepreneurship and get mentoring and everything there. So that'll happen in August. So that's kind of one of the first little things with the program. And so the last thing is, if you think this was hard, let me see if I can get that. On Tuesday at 2 p.m., if you're here, I will try to, for 1 entire hour, which stunned me when South by told me it was an hour long, keep your interest on quantum computing and educate you on all aspects of it, which is like frightening me because I thought it was gonna be like 20 minutes. I was like, I think I can do it for like 12, and then for like 8 minutes, just kind of like fake through it and be like vision and stuff. And they're like, oh, it's an hour. And I was like, oh my God, this will be the keynote everybody you see walking out on the video of the room. Because there's like a giant math slide, right? So anyway, so that's what I'm doing. That's the long and short of it. If you're interested in either the CERN project, where we're going to start trying to educate these kids, or if you're interested in open courseware, which is the next step for quantum.org, is trying to build resources that everybody can use and share to educate the next generation on this next generation technology. Definitely come see me, or you can just hit me up on Twitter or whatever at Worley. I would love to talk to you, but thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody. So we're going to take, thanks to Anu, thank you, Worley, thank you, fellows, for being here, thank you, Romana, and to the Eisenhower Fellowships for sponsoring this breakfast today. Thank you, Chris, and World Tokenomic Forum, everyone, for creating this amazing venue. Thanks to Jack, also, co-sponsor and collaborator. So we're going to take a little bit of a break, and then in about 10 minutes, we'll get started with the next portion of the day, which is all around blockchain, smart cities, and the future of fill in the blank. So we're going to have amazing content, and we hope you stick around. Thanks so much.